Hello, friends. Today we're diving into a bizarre, real story that might sound more like a nightmare than history. But trust me, this event not only happened but also shaped an entire era of terror and belief. Picture this, it's the late 15th century, a time shrouded in superstition and fear. A monk named Heinrich Kramer wakes up in a cold sweat from a dream so horrifying that it will haunt him forever. In this dream, he claims to have been attacked by a group of witches. But this wasn't just an ordinary attack. According to Kramer, these witches used their dark magic to steal his manhood. Yes, his very manhood. And what's worse, in his dream, he saw these witches hide his stolen organ in a nest filled with snakes and insects. This nightmare, as bizarre as it sounds, became the foundation for one of the most infamous books in history, Malleus Maleficarum, or the Hammer of Witches. Kramer believed that witches posed a grave danger to society and the church, and his fears drove him to write a manual that would define witch hunts for centuries to come. But here's the twist. This wasn't just about one man's fear. This was a reflection of an entire society gripped by paranoia and ignorance. A world where belief in witches and their supposed powers led to unimaginable cruelty and mass persecution. A journey through history and thought. This video isn't just about the strange tale of Heinrich Kramer or his infamous book. It's about exploring how misinformation, fear, and control have shaped societies from the medieval period to the modern age. It's a journey through history, inspired by one of the most thought-provoking books of our time, by Yuval Noah Harari. Harari's work delves deep into how falsehoods and myths have been used throughout history, not just to explain the unknown, but also to manipulate, control, and dominate. His insights are not only illuminating, but also deeply relevant to our world today, where we are constantly bombarded by information, much of which is misleading or false. We highly recommend diving into Harari's books if you want a deeper understanding of these themes. But if you're pressed for time, don't worry. This video will break it all down for you in a simple, engaging, and thought-provoking way. Why you need to watch this video. This isn't just a historical lesson or a retelling of a bizarre dream. In this video, we'll cover 1. How the fear of witches shaped an era of persecution and injustice. 2. The parallels between medieval witch hunts and modern misinformation. 3. How technology, particularly artificial intelligence, is reshaping the way we understand truth and lies. 4. And finally, how we can navigate this complex world of endless information to find and defend the truth. So, as we begin this journey, I challenge you to think about your own beliefs. How much of what you know is based on truth, and how much could be the product of misinformation? If you're ready to uncover the strange connections between history and today, and if you're curious about how we can protect truth in an age of endless lies, then stay with us till the end of this video. Trust me, this is a story that will change the way you think. Let's dive in and uncover the bizarre, terrifying, and thought-provoking journey of the Hammer of Witches and the lessons it holds for our modern world. Malleus Maleficarum, the book that shaped an era. Now that you've heard the strange and unsettling tale of Heinrich Kramer's nightmare, let's explore how this bizarre story led to the creation of one of history's most infamous books, Malleus Maleficarum, or the Hammer of Witches. This book wasn't just a text. It was the spark that ignited centuries of witch hunts and terror across Europe. What was Malleus Maleficarum? Published in 1487, Malleus Maleficarum was written by two Catholic monks. Its primary aim? To combat what they believed to be the growing threat of witches. But this wasn't merely a collection of ideas. It was a comprehensive guide teaching readers how to identify, interrogate, and ultimately punish witches. The book was divided into three main sections. 1. The reality of witchcraft. The authors used theological, philosophical, and anecdotal evidence to prove that witchcraft was a genuine and grave danger. 2. How to identify a witch. Signs of witchcraft range from physical marks to unusual behavior, or even being too attractive or too ugly. Confessions, often extracted through torture, were also emphasized. 3. Interrogating and punishing witches. This section, arguably the most chilling, detailed methods for interrogation and punishment. Some of these methods were so bizarre and inhumane that they defy belief. The water test. Suspects were thrown into the water. If they drowned, they were declared innocent. If they floated, they were deemed witches. Body inspection. Individuals were examined for satanic marks, such as moles or scars. Even a tiny mole could seal someone's fate. Why was this book so influential? You might wonder how a single book gained such widespread influence. The answer lies in timing and authority. During this period, the Catholic Church and European rulers faced various crises and needed tools to maintain control over their populations. Malleus Maleficarum provided a convenient justification for their actions. Another crucial factor was the advent of the printing press. This revolutionary technology allowed the book to be mass-produced and its dangerous ideas to spread rapidly across Europe. While many believe the printing press was a monumental step forward for humanity, Yuval Noah Harari challenges this notion. According to Harari, the printing press wasn't inherently good or bad, it was merely a tool, and in this case, it amplified fear, ignorance, and violence. We'll discuss this perspective further in the video. The impact of Malleus Maleficarum was devastating. It fueled mass hysteria and led to the persecution and execution of thousands. Trials were often based on flimsy evidence, and confessions were obtained through brutal torture. Most tragically, the victims were overwhelmingly women, midwives, healers, widows, or simply those who didn't conform to societal norms. This gendered violence wasn't coincidental. The book explicitly described women as inherently weak and carnal, making them more susceptible to the devil's influence. Why does this still matter today? You might think, this happened centuries ago. Why should it matter now? The mechanisms that allowed Malleus Maleficarum to thrive, fear, misinformation, and the abuse of power, are still alive today. From fake news and conspiracy theories to targeted harassment online, the modern world faces its versions of witch hunts. The parallels are striking and deeply concerning. What's next? But here's an important note. The book we're recommending for you to read isn't Malleus Maleficarum. Instead, it's a work that does the opposite. It inspires thought and clarity, helping us better understand the world. Later in this video, we'll reveal what that book is and why you should read it. So stay with us, because the story doesn't end here. Human bonds, unity or conflict. Yuval Noah Harari emphasizes in his interview that human bonds have always been a source of strength for societies, yet these same bonds can also lead to division and violence. A sense of solidarity. Billions of people around the world feel a sense of unity due to shared religious, cultural, or collective beliefs. Example: Christians across the globe, despite their linguistic and cultural differences, feel connected through their shared faith. A Jewish person in New York might feel a bond upon seeing someone wearing a traditional Jewish kippah, even if they have never met before. Conflict and violence. However, the very same bonds that unite people can also become a source of hatred and destruction. Historical and modern examples. Religious wars have claimed millions of lives throughout history, the displacement and killing of individuals by those who share a similar cultural or religious background. The role of information in creating bonds. Harari explains that information, whether accurate or false, is a key factor in forming human connections. Accurate information, scientific beliefs or truths that drive cooperation and solidarity. False information, superstitions or rumors may create bonds, but often lead to negative consequences. Example from the book. In Nexus, Harari highlights the importance of shared stories and information. He explains how many of these narratives, even if fictional, have shaped social structures. However, these stories can either benefit societies or, conversely, contribute to their collapse. Neutrality in evaluating bonds. Bonds formed through information, whether true or false, should not automatically be labeled as positive or negative. Positive examples. Shared social contracts have led to the progress of civilizations. Negative examples. Superstitions or ideologies that have incited wars, hatred, and prejudice. Bonds in the digital age. Opportunity or threat. Harari stresses that in today's modern world, information spreads rapidly through technology, strengthening or undermining connections. Opportunities, the ability to connect with any part of the world, expansion of international cooperation. Threats, the rapid spread of misinformation polarizes societies, the use of technology to promote hatred or prejudice. Harari reminds us that bonds, like any tool, can be both constructive and destructive. Everything depends on the type of information that shapes these bonds. In the next section, we will examine the parallels between the witch hunt era and today's digital age, demonstrating how misinformation plays a similarly destructive role in modern society.